Hello and welcome, luminous beings of light. Thank you for joining me here at the SoulFire Alchemist. I'm your host, Dr. Beth. So, I wanted to talk to you about our big conjunction that we have coming up next month. This is going to occur on April the 20th, 2024, and we will have Jupiter conjuncting Uranus at 21 degrees and 49 minutes, exactly here in Eastern Standard Time at 10:01 p.m., thereabouts, around 10 o'clock. Now, granted, these planets have such a great big orb that, you know, this is something that you'll feel the effects of. You're feeling it now, probably coming in, and you will be feeling it until those planets completely just, pull apart in their orb of influence, which is 7 to 8 degrees. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a shamanic viewpoint on this conjunction, as well as talk a little bit about the Sabian symbols involved with these planetary energies and how they coalesce with the ideals and practices of shamanism, the meaning behind it, just the deeper meaning behind these transits. One of the reasons it's so important to me, and the biggest reason I wanted to come and speak to you about it, is because my own Jupiter is in Taurus at 21 degrees. So I'll be having a Jupiter return at the same time as this great conjunction. So for me, it's a really big deal in my own personal life, and maybe you have, a either Uranus or Jupiter around the 20-degree point in your own natal chart. Don't have a natal chart that is to look at, I encourage you to go to astro.com. You can drop a free chart for free there. And then that way you'll know which house it's affecting you in, because this transit is going to affect everyone. Okay. It's just a matter of finding out where it is in your chart. Now, if you've ever got a personal planet or point, that's it's going to affect, then certainly it's going to be more meaningful and deeper for you, more life changing for you. But I want to talk to you a little bit about just the general transit itself for the collective and what it's asking us really to do and take a look at in our lives. So, um, with that said, we want to take a look at some of the transits and the meaning. So when we're talking about Sabian symbols, one of the main systems that I follow and is important in my life is called Sabian Alchemy. And this is a system that my mentor James came up with. And I've been working with him a lot lately with these systems and learning a lot about it, just learning a lot about my own personal self through the Sabians. For those of you who aren't familiar, I'll put a link below. So you can kind of go check out what that means. But essentially, the Sabians, each degree of the 360-degree zodiac, has a symbol associated with that degree. So we can open that up and take a look at the deep meaning and symbology behind that and understand on an even more exposed level and a deeper level what that actually means for us, right? So that's what I endeavor to do. This is a little something different than you'll find on your typical astrological YouTube channel. So in looking at the Sabian symbol for Taurus 21, or Taurus 22 rather, because even though this is occurring at 21 degrees and 49 minutes, according to my chart that I have here, you always round up for the Sabian symbol. So actually what we're looking at is Taurus 22. And the Sabian symbol for Taurus 22 is a white dove flying over troubled water. This Sabian symbol is regarding and talks about guidance, right? Our need for guidance. And the holy dove or the white dove and many traditions, religious traditions, equate it with the Holy Spirit. The water is symbolic of our mind, right? And the troubled water in this specific Sabian is talking about a troubled mind and how we might look at the energy of the Holy Spirit or the white dove flying over that and calming it and helping us to find an anchor. or helping us to find ways that we can create stillness within that troubled water. Now, in my own life, this has obviously been a thing, right? Because I have this natal placement. So, you know, I have found a lot of times in my life when I've looked for guidance. And to me, this is a very shamanic symbol, right? And this is one of the reasons I was probably called to shamanism. I've been working with this since I was very little. And that validation in this symbol comes from learning how to read the signs, learning how to take guidance from divinity through the signs of nature, through things that we're getting through our intuition, through even knowing our deep inner self and having a relationship with our higher self or God or oneness or Buddha, or I don't care, Allah, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what people call divine providence or great mystery. You have your own way of relating in that. So my ask of you as you're watching my channel is that no matter what word I might or you choose to use for great mystery and for oneness, that we understand that we're talking about the same divine providence. It comes in many different forms. But it's about faith, in this respect, and understanding your intuition versus your will. Okay. Your decisions and how you make them based on the guidance that you receive. What you decide to create. This is a highly creative energy too, because there's a lot of ways that we can create stillness in our minds, right? We might be really somebody who loves meditation or the guided shamanic journey, where we're on a path of self-discovery about these signs and these symbols, what we can work with in the natural world that helps us to create balance, harmony, and peace and stillness in our minds. So we look to this energy to try to find our optimism, right? And a pessimistic mind can often be a troubled mind. It's those troubled waters. And how do we look to spirit, right? To live in a state of relaxation and to let go and let God, as it were, and to really understand that there is divinity working and that we can receive guidance through that divinity working. So one of the things, and Uranus, we could certainly talk about Uranus, because Uranus is at the same Sabian, okay? And so we could look to not just the energies of Jupiter, but also Uranus and how they might, sorry, trying to get my camera focused, enhance that. So with Uranus, you've often heard it said that you're looking for, or you will experience things that are kind of shocking, maybe create a little bit of change, really fast change, a lot of surprise, right? Things that just come from out of the blue that you were not expecting. Uranus is like a lightning strike, right? And so it's a symbol that really provides us with freshness and getting us out of a rut if we're stuck in one, and providing a way for us to move forward in life, whether by choice or not. And that is, if you call the planets having a will, that would be the will of Uranus, is to get us moving and to get us going in a different direction in our life. It's also something with Uranus. It's also something with this planet that it actually brings us the desire to have more revolution or evolution in our life, to be able to have more freedom in our lives, right? So freedom is a big thing with the Uranus energies. And Jupiter, of course, is the great expander. So he's there to expand this energy and to make it bigger and to bring more awareness to you around this energy. So everything that you've heard me talk about so far, Jupiter being conjunct this energy is going to expand it and bring even more attention to you in it. Jupiter is also connected to the spiritual guru. It's connected to the journey, right? The long journey that you go off on. I myself think of it as shamanic journey, because of course, the shamanic journey is going to be a long journey, but it's in the deep inner self, right? Deeply into the subconscious mind, deep into the realms of the great unknown. deep into the realms of even the underworld, where we go to look for those parts of our shadow, those parts of our trauma, our unhealed wounds, so that we can kind of go on a rescue mission, right? And we bring the light of our conscious awareness into this. And as I keep talking, I want you to be aware of how connected these energies are, because it's quite astounding. It's quite astounding. At least, when I got to looking at it, I found that it was. Now, as this conjunction is going to be happening, we're going to be having the sun moving directly into Taurus, okay? And it's going to be at 1 degree and 27 minutes of Taurus. Now, we can look to the Sabian symbol of that degree, but for the purposes of the video, I'm not going to go into that, because we're just dealing with 2 Sabians mainly that I wanted to point out for you in this video. If it's something that you're interested in learning more about, please leave me a comment below, because if this is highly intriguing and you find it highly useful, then surely I would like to put out more content in this regard. So Jupiter moving into Taurus, okay? Taurus is ruled by Venus. So it brings more attention and focus during this time in our lives to the things that we find that we love and that we find valuable, and the things that we find beautiful, our tactile senses, our ability to feel beautiful fabric, or something that we love, that we, to me, it's ruled by the bull is the symbol. And so I always think of how much I love the earth, and how I could just, I love to garden. And when I'm digging in the dirt, sometimes I just feel like I could literally just go dig a place in the dirt and just lay down and sleep in it and be perfectly happy, because I love earth. I love the earth energies. And that's why I do what I do. Earth-based spirituality is hugely important to me in my life. And I was raised strict Southern Baptist, and in a Christian home, yet there was a lot of trauma in that home. So for me, I ran down into the woods. That was my safe haven, amongst the trees, down in the woods on a mountain, right? By the stream, with the elementals, right? You guys know, those of you that know me personally know I got a real big thing for Lord of the Rings. There's a reason for that. And the Elven School of Mysteries is something I'll talk more about as I get permission. But the symbol over there, the fairy star, it's otherwise known, the Elven star. Lots of wisdom and the power of 7. And that's something I hope that you'll get to hear more of in the future. So keep your eyes and your ears open for those things. But as the sun is moving into this, it's going to not touch these energies, right? So this is not going to be a conjunctionary energy, but it is going to bring more energy into this Taurus area, this stellium, right? A stellium is when you have 3 or more planets or points in a specific zodiac sign. So as we're moving, it's really moving all this energy into Taurus, okay? And you got to think about Taurus as ruling things like the kind of money that you make. How do you relate to wealth? What is wealth to you? What is abundance to you? What is natural abundance to you, right? So being a landholder might be important to you. Having a garden might be important to you, with, wherever you have Taurus in your chart, and especially if you've got a lot of Taurus energy. But it's also things that you smell, beautiful aromas, delicious food, right? Um, these are all things that to me are very Venusian, but also specifically very Taurus. The ways that you find your own self-worth and values, which we don't really equate so much with Taurus, but in many ways it is, right? How do we take care of ourselves? And all of that, sort of thing. So the reason I point this out is because we're going to be having a square from this sun as it enters Taurus over to Pluto and Aquarius at 2 degrees. Now, it's not exact, but it's close enough with these bigger planets to be exact. So we have the sun at 1 degree of Taurus, and Pluto at 2 of Aquarius. Now, you guys know, because I just mentioned, that Jupiter and Uranus will be conjunct in Taurus. Uranus rules Aquarius, where Pluto is. You follow me? If you're not, maybe take a note or two. I don't know, it helps me. Pluto is going to be asking, and is right now asking, for us to reconsider ourselves and our place in the community, But with it being a square to the sun in Taurus, it's asking you to reevaluate the things that you value in life. How can you come to a higher expression? So, this is a challenge, right? Also, it's an opportunity, right? People, the squares get a bad name, but I'm telling you guys, the longer I'm an astrologer and work with shamanism and systems that I typically work with, I'm coming into new understandings in my own personal experience, right? So I've had personal experiences with sextiles, trines, squares, oppositions, and conjuncts that traditional astrology will tell you is one thing, but my own personal experience has shown me that it's something else. Now, I can't say that that might be true for you necessarily. I'm just trying to point out something to you that I've experienced and to see if you might want to apply it in your own life and see if it might be true. The squares are always opportunities, and sometimes they're not fun if we're not up for the challenge. That's why self work is so important, inner work is so important. Understanding who you are is so important on a real deep level. That's what these mystery wisdom school, all this stuff is about. Alchemy, in the sense of traditional alchemy, ancient alchemy. So now the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, and I'm going to bring up the Sabian symbol for this one, is that at the same time we're going to be having Neptune in Pisces, of course, where it has been for a while. It's exalted, but it's at 28 degrees. Okay. Now, if we look to the Sabian symbol, we're going to be looking at 29 degrees Pisces, which is light breaking through a prism. So, y'all know, do you remember, like if you're my age, you probably especially remember Pink Floyd, the band. And you know how they had, if I had me a Pink Floyd shirt, I put that on today, but I have a Lord of the Rings shirt on. It's like a prism and there's light going through it and it refracts this light and it's this rainbow. Okay. Now, I call you guys luminous beings of light for a reason. When you bring light into yourself, as you do because you're a light being, you have different hues and shades of that light. That's the hue man, who radiates forth all of these different colors, perspectives, expressions. And so the key word for this one, for this Sabian symbol, which is Pisces 29, light breaking through a prism, is validation. Now, I want you to think how that relates to the things that I've just talked about. So when we're looking into mixing the idea of taking guidance and needing validation and freedom, creativity, evolution, expansion, growth, revolution, right? The sun and Neptune, and especially Neptune making this sextile, right? Because that's why I bring it up. Neptune is making a sextile to this conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus at 21 degrees in Taurus. So you have this conjunction of all this Piscean, dreamy, illusory, uh, godlike, right? The great deep and the great unknown, the prism. Well, how do you get validation of the great unknown? That's your sacred wisdom. And that becomes developed through the Taurus 22, which is the white dove flying over troubled waters, looking for guidance in the signs and the symbols. You take that in as light, and it gets refracted through you through a conscious and an unconscious self-expression of your goals, not your goals, but so much, and you could align with that, but your values, your belief systems, and your principles, the things that you know to be true because you've checked them with your own frequency inside. You've checked them with the truth of your own divine beingness because you know who you are, right? You've been doing this work. You've been doing introspection and self-reflection. You've been doing trauma healing and wound healing and soul retrieval, right? Retrieving parts of yourself that were lost when you were wounded. That's all that is. It's not a big scary thing. You know, uh, yeah. People sometimes want to dramatize things that in reality, and I've done it myself. But the thing is that we just use language to try to help people understand and really get it because it is a big deal. But at the same time, it's nothing special for us to want to restore ourselves to a whole place and to be fully harmonious and honor our beauty, our wisdom, our grace, our strength, our courage, right? And Uranus is there to give us strength and courage. Neptune is also in Pisces at 22 degrees at this point, also helping out with the sextile energy to this conjunction. Okay. So you're going to be getting a lot of strength and courage to find inner guidance and to listen to signs and symbols. Okay. Those things seem like they're external to you, but it is but a reflection of what your higher self is trying to communicate to you, what divine providence is trying to communicate to you, what the angels, the ancestors, guides, and teachers, whatever holy ones and divine beings that you call upon, that you acknowledge, even ones maybe you don't. Your higher self always knows. Your deep inner self always knows the messages that you need to get to understand whether or not you're on the right path in life. What's next? What's true for you? How do you express your divine self? How do you express yourself? Right? So the sun in challenge to Scorpio, I mean, not Scorpio, Pluto, the sun to challenge in Pluto. To me, what I got through my guidance is asking us to reconsider. It's the transformation, right? That's Pluto, a shamanic sort of an energy, because it's death and rebirth and transformation. So it's asking you to reconsider your own conscious will and self expression as it relates to the things that you love and find beautiful, that you value, your worth, your self worth. How do you determine that self worth? If this is not work that you've done a lot, you may have to face what I call some cobras, right? Cobras in your face. And those cobras are matters simply that come up for us to look at and go, all right, things that are either fill us with fear or intimidation because we're not sure how to deal with them. And that's okay. The universe is gifting you a ginormous opportunity through these. There's an aspect of surrendering the self, right? Completely letting go and letting the divine have it, knowing that there's certain things that you can't control. There's a big balance and a feedback system between divine surrender and self expression, which is the ego. The ego gets a bad rap. But you got to understand, ego is only bad when you are overinflated, right? Or self deprecating, because an extreme of either expression is out of balance. Now, here's what I've been saying for years, and I believe I got this from Neil Donald Walsh, but boy, for the last 20 years of my life, ever since he published those books, whenever it was, I got them. And I am but a part of God on my journey to experience that which I would like. You could take the word experience and also use express, because you are an expression of that part of God that was created in the essence of you. So when you see me and myself the way that I am now, Reverend Dr. Elizabeth, my shamanic name is SoulFire. For 11 years since my near death experience, when I went to the oneness, I've been asked to rise into a divine expression of that. I've been asked to rise like a phoenix out of the ashes of death a lot in transformation and help other people with it. Did my higher self commission that or did the universe? That's a great mystery. One we each have to answer for ourselves, right? So there is also a pull by the heart during this time, right? That Jupiter and Taurus really, and with the sun moving into Taurus, really kind of connects us with our heart and senses it can activate all of your chakras. But, my intuition is telling me that this is equating us with a pull of our own heart, our inner self, our beliefs, our principles, the things that you're willing to say, I know this to be true, and I'd die for it. Shining the inner light of yourself. That's the sun. Yet it's in square to Pluto in Aquarius during this time. So the challenge and the opportunity is to say, well, how is it that you're not afraid? How can you step out of the fear of expressing all of who you are? How can you step out of fear of expressing the things that you love and find beautiful and that you find valuable? Your resources, how can you access those? And in this specific way, I mean your guidance. Do you need to take a guide or a mentor that's actually a physical guide and a mentor to help you see these things? That's not bad. Now, it's not good to be dependent on one your whole life, but it's good to take guidance and to be receptive of it and to learn how to translate it for yourself, right? You are a translator, you're a transducer, you're a receiver. All of that divine light, that's the prism. That's Pisces 29 and sextile with this energy at Taurus 22, which is the white dove flying over troubled water. So, in the coming month, I know we've got the eclipse. There is a eclipse coming, and boy, everybody's talking about that. And I'm not saying it ain't important. Of course it is. But you got to realize the Aries rules the ego, right? It can be a highly selfish energy, but it doesn't have to be selfish to the point of like narcissistic. That's not what it's about. It's about, okay, I think of it this way. When you're born, when you're a baby, from ages 0 to 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years old, you're learning who you are. What's the difference between me and this pen? Where does this stop and where do I begin? How about the food? How about the light socket? There's your Uranus energy. So, yeah, and Jupiter too. So, it's all Aries is that first stage. It's that first house in the traditional zodiac wheel that starts us. And then it moves into Taurus. So that's when we start really relating about who we are and what we love. So if all these things are separate from me and I'm here, what do I love and find beautiful? Oh, my favorite color, my favorite color, purple for me. My favorite bottle, my favorite whatever, right? So we're developing the things that we love and find beautiful and that we value in that second stage of life. The first stage is developing the ego. Now, later in life, and as we work through life, we go through varying stages of forgetting ourselves and becoming sort of egoless in the matter, right? Because it's how we reach divine states of ascension and transcendence, to let go of an embodied self in order to see through the eyes of God in our seeking. So in seeking God, we learn to see through the eyes of God. Now, that probably seems blasphemous to many people, but thing is, I can't do anything about my spiritual experience. It is what it is. What I can't do is not talk about it. So, I am a teacher in every sense of the word. I'm a mentor and I'm a guide. I'm a healer. Have been all my life. So these are just things that I must share to be on my soul path. So one other point that I'll bring up about this during this transit is that, especially this day, so this is on the 20th of April, the moon will be opposing not the energy itself, but it'll be opposing Mars and the Neptune energy that I discussed. So the way you're feeling about it those days, it's going to be called up for you. Now, those opposition isn't always a butting up. Sometimes in opposition, it's an opportunity for these energies to come together, but to also balance and find equilibrium. So I want you to remember that. Oppositions are equilibrium. They can be, and they're meant to be when you're doing it right. So you're being called upon to just find that equilibrium between your deep inner feelings and the things that you need the most, the mother energy that you deal with in your life, how you receive care, how you were with your mom, right? Because the moon rules those things. Those things might come up for you as it relates to your own personal energy and will, and the way that you relate to the divine, the way that you relate to bring the divine through you to express all of who you are. And how do you do that? With great courage and great strength, so that you can carry out a great vision for your life. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for me too. And I am but a part of God on my journey to experience that which I would like, and so are you. And so that's what I mean when I say, and I've said for years, luminous light beings, or luminous beings of light. When I write you an email, if you're not on my email list, get on my newsletter, BethSoulFire.com. So yeah, I wanted to talk to you about those things. I hope it made sense, and I hope you got something out of the information that is going to be highly useful to you. While we're here, I want to go ahead and make mention that I just released a couple of videos about our upcoming events. One is going to be Tuesday on our equinox. Okay, so we're going to be celebrating this lunar new year, this solar new year, because they're all energies that are happening at the same time. It's like a great reset of sorts. Everybody's got their feelings on that term, but I don't mean it in any other way except for astrologically and in your own personal life. That it's kind of like getting a new slate to work with, fresh starts, probably in more ways than you could ever imagine right now. And you don't have to try. If you're into manifestation, certainly you might want to do those things. And this is something I cover as well. But make sure you got your protections in order. Make sure you're doing a ritual every day. Make sure you've got something that you're doing through meditation or, some sort of a prayer or a ritual every single day that you do that calls in your purification and your protection, that helps you, maybe a study that you do like this one. You're watching this video, so you're automatically bringing in some tools in your life. You're making a conscious decision to try to really know yourself better and understand what's going on, not just out in the world, but in here. Because as above, so below, as without, so within. Okay. This is an ancient wisdom teaching, and we really have to figure out how our past ways of being don't serve us and where we're going. How are they still hurting us? Right? And I pointed out for context. Most of you watching my channel know I lost my dad and my brother last year, and I had what I consider the second biggest health crisis of my life, next to what happened to me 11 years ago when I had my near-death experience and the illness that kept me in the hospital for months, coma for 2 weeks, or coma for 5 days and life support for 2 weeks. Took me a year to recover. That was 11 years ago. Last year, in addition to that, my mom had some surgery and she again's having some issues right now. So could use your prayers for that. Appreciate it. But the reason I mention it is because I'm not different than you in the sense that I have no special ability or power to rise above bad situations in my life that are grief stricken. As you can see, I still have emotion rise up about it. I'm fine to be vulnerable with you on my channel. That doesn't bother me. In fact, sometimes I believe it necessary because it gives you an opportunity to see, man, if she can be a phoenix, so can I. I didn't say it was the easiest thing in the world, but it can be if you're committed. But it takes some real big hella commitment. I'll just put it that way. All right. It takes a lot of faith. It takes a lot of decisions, right? Indecisiveness can really hurt us. It takes a lot of responsibility for yourself. Not a lot of people are willing to take that these days. So, but yeah, join us Tuesday. I'll put the link below for registration. It's a free event. It's by donation, whatever. I've got preset donation things up there. I think the lowest one's $5. But if you can't afford to attend and you want to join, just shoot me an email, beth@soulfireministries.net. We'll figure out a way to get you signed up. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the International Day of Astrology and the eclipse energies for the Libra lunar and coming up this weekend. And then as it happens, that's going to occur on Monday and on Sunday, that's the 25th of March, but on Sunday, the 24th, I'm having a Shamanic Fundamentals Masterclass. So if you find yourself interested in that, it's a full day retreat. So it's not overnight or anything like that, but we're just going to be spending all day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. delving into the topics of shamanism, astrology. I might even cover, some of the sevenfold path system work that I'm learning with my mentor, because I find it to be extremely powerful and helpful. We'll be covering the Earth Mandala and how to work with it. You'll be doing actual work with yours. You'll be moving and shifting and transforming a lot of energies. And I can't recommend something more than what I'm offering next weekend as the means to really put you on a springboard and get you off right when it comes to moving forward through these energies with them vigor and strength and courage, to bring clarity in your life where there's confusion, to help you have some tools that you'll walk away with, to feel yourself refining if you haven't already found, and certainly it will help you find a sense of your own spiritual sovereignty, right? It can really, really help you with those things. And it promises to, right? The only way it wouldn't is if you just out and out are not committed to the work. But I don't imagine you'd want to attend anyway. But I'll also put the link down for the masterclass as well. There are videos below this one you can check out too if you want to know more about what it's going to entail and all of the cost and everything like that. Just, in short, if you're interested, you can reach out to me, Beth@soulfireministries.net. But you can also just go to the links below and check those out for the classes. Our next in-person service here in East Tennessee is going to be on Sunday, April 7th at 1 p.m. So we'll be having SoulFire Shaman Talks then as well. And that's the day before the eclipse, the solar eclipse in Aries. So that's going to be our main topic. And we'll be focusing on what's going to be eclipsed out of your own personal life. Now, any of my things that you come to, it's a real good idea to have your natal chart printed out and in front of you or on your phone so that you can look at it. Have a notebook with you so you can take notes. I recommend that too. Why? Because I want you to get as much out of it as you can, right? That's my goal, is to help you through these things. And unless you're just going to remember every last thing that I say, and I can say a lot, you might want to be prepared to take some notes, and especially just to be able to look in the chart and see for you where this stuff is occurring so that you can ask me a question if you have one. I love questions. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. So I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful and blessed week. And if you have any questions about anything, just reach out to me. I hope that this energy does wonderfully for you. I hope it does for me too, man. Jupiter returns, it's a big special time. It only happens once every 12 years. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what it might entail. All right, you guys. And so I hope you take care, and I will see you on the next video, and I will see you on the flip side.